Hey guys, it's Ellen here. Today's Mini Monday Madness tutorial is mini cityscapes. This is like a faux New York and Paris cityscape. I think you'll really enjoy this one. So grab your paints. We're just using those three colors again. Plus black, I did mention that. And a couple brushes. And let's get started. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment section. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box below with exclusive tutorials and videos over there. And check out my other channel, Amazing Art Channel. You can see the description box below or on my About page for my acrylic demo paintings. So let's get started. Okay, to start, I'll just go over my supplies. I have a small piece, a 3-inch square of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper that I've taped down with Scotch tape. I have my paints. I have Peacock Blue, Holbein Magenta, Holbein Peacock Blue, Holbein Quinacridone Magenta, and Holbein Cadmium Yellow Deep. And I'll probably use some black too. Just use a couple brushes. I'm going to start off using a bigger brush, the Grumbacher Golden Edge number 10. I also have my water jars and my palette here that holds the paint. People ask, I do use two paints and I do stick them in the pans, and I do use those sometimes. But for the tutorials, I'm just showing you mixing. So we're just going to get some water on the brush, and we're going to get the whole piece of paper wet. My brush had a little green tinge to it. Must have had some old color on there, but that's okay. Get the whole paper wet. I'm going to take some of this Peacock Blue, water that down, add a little of the magenta to make it purplish. Pretty purple. I'll put that over in here. See that? Barely faint. And we're going to wash that purple just up in here, really pale, and then going downward like an ombre. Now we're going to take the magenta itself, get a lot of water in here because we want the color to be very pale. So putting a lot of water. See all that water I put in there? I can sometimes dab it on my paper towel to get off the excess water. We're going to put that in, the pink in there. This pretty purpley pink sky. If you don't want it so purpley pink, you can add like more blue tone. So I can just add a little blue up here just to change it. See? And then some of that purple into the pink. Grab some more of that magenta. So it's kind of like an ombre going on right now. And it's fairly wet. So I'm going to grab some of this magenta. This is pretty bright. I'm going to tone it down a bit just by adding a little yellow. And the consistency is not as wet. A little more yellow. See, it's less water. I'm going to dab it on my paper towel. And I'm just going to tap it. See, I'm just going in a little bit here and here. We're going to make like pinkish clouds. And here. Now it's bleeding, which is fine. If it's bleeding that you don't like it, like spider bleeds, we can go in and fix that. So I'm adding in some pink clouds. Because it's really, really wet, it does bleed. Add some more up in here. See, I'm just tapping it in and moving the paint around. Now, you can clean up your brush, and you can kind of, if they have those little spider veins, you can just kind of go on top of that now and take that off. manipulate it so it doesn't bleed like little spider veins. Sometimes it has a tendency to do that if it's too wet. So you're just removing some of the paint. And then I'm going to go back in and get some more paint on there. I'm going to add a little more yellow. So this consistency, even less water. And I'm just going to make these little marks. See how I'm doing that? These little marks. My paintbrush tip. Let's make the clouds. And pink. And get a little darker down in here. Again, add some more yellow to that. A little less water again. Almost right out of the tube at this point. And I'm just tapping in this dark color. Just in little places, just little teeny taps. Because it's still bleeding. With this pretty pink sky. If it seems like it's just blending too much, it's too pink, clean up your brush and you can use it as a mop. So you're just lifting up that paint. And you can move this one around. Oop. Actual pigment got in there. You don't want to fuss around too much because then it's going to tear your paper a little bit. The pigment is stuck on my brush. See how it got on there? I'm going to have to move that around. Or just paint with it. Go with it. Add some paint, which I just did. So I'm going to remove some more of this paint over here and down here. And then we'll add in the paint again. So the dark part of the clouds, the underneath part. Gonna add a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to add a little more up here. So at this point, we want it to dry. Okay, and we're going to use a hairdryer, and then I'll come back and then we'll start doing the layers of the city skyline. Okay, so it's fairly dry. So for the skyline, I'm just going to grab a smaller brush. This is a Princeton 5 round Velvet Touch series. I have my magenta here. I'm going to put a touch of yellow. So it's going to be like a dark pink. Dab it on paper towel. And we're just going to put some buildings. You know, rectangular shaped. If it seems a little too bright, we'll add a little more. Just a touch of the blue, touch of the yellow. We'll tone this color down just a bit. There. And get it fairly wet. So it's kind of translucent. It will dry later anyway. So I'm just putting these rectangular shapes. Zoom in a little bit. Tall, small, wide. Just like you would picture, this is really like a city. This kind of looks like New York City in a way. I'm making like a faux New York City. It could be any city. If you know a particular silhouette for your city, you could put a dome in You know, like a rounded dome. It's a different city. We'll just do that for the fun of it. We can paint right over it though. Another building behind it. So this is going to be like a layering tutorial for the mini. And put another building over here. Okay. At this point, we're going to either make a black or grab the black. I didn't activate it, but I'm activating. No, black. I always like to add a little blue to my black, so I put some peacock with my black. And then a little more. You can make it whatever you want, just as plain out. I just like the bluer tone. And even add some magenta to it. So it's a pinker tone. But you get what I'm saying, because we're going to be more gray anyway. I'm going to dab it on the paper towel, take off the excess water, and then I'm going to start to go in and put in some gray buildings. Now you want to make sure you're not so the other color is still wet, because it's going to bleed into it. Feels pretty damp, so you might want to just wait until it's dry. You want to make some shorter buildings, some fatter buildings, some skinny buildings. Some pointy ones. New York City has that new World Trade Center. It's kind of like a pointy building. And it goes out at an angle. And it's pretty awesome if you've been up there. You go up pretty fast. I took my son up there a couple of years ago. Mom and son trip. So I'm adding some more gray rectangular buildings. They're not quite stuck together yet. They're still spread out, as you can see. Do some smaller ones over here. Another one over here. Okay, and we're going to let that one dry, and we're going to go back in and add even darker color. Okay, so that's dry. I can go back in and even make it even darker on top of that. Right? So you're having like these 3 dimensions of skyline. Do some little details with this one. There's the Chrysler building. I'm trying to think, it has that rounded with the little windows and the top little pointy thing. And it goes out on the side like this. The Empire State Building has this kind of situation. And we could put little windows in at the end using gouache. That looks like the Empire State Building. A little point. Again, you can add some lower buildings connecting. because that would be World Trade, be way downtown, so it'd be much. It would be fading. This black is kind of translucent. We want it not to be, so you could either keep layering on the black, or you could use a black gouache. I'm going to do another skinnier building. You can add some little details. Maybe there's like a water tower on this one. That would actually be cool. I haven't done a water tower. Maybe I should do a water tower. Basically, it's like a square. Just put little legs there. That'd be like a water tower. And have another building here. I can use your imagination. It's not exactly in New York. Similar though. Alright, so when we finished all the black, I'm going to go back in, add another details. Little details, little teeny marks. I'm going to blow dry this and come back and we're going to add windows. Alright, that's all blown dry. I have just a cheap white gouache. I put it over here on my palette. It's right here. And the consistency is you want it loose, but not super loose like watercolor. You want it like a wasabi paste. You ever have wasabi with your sushi? I don't know if everybody has sushi, but like a little paste. So it's a little wet, but not super wet, because you want it to be opaque. The more water it has, the less opaque it will be. And we're just going to put in some little windows. The Chrysler Building. You don't have to put windows in all of them. But it's kind of fun just to add the windows. Just adds another little thing to it. Zoom in so you can see. Okay, just little dashes for the windows. And then we peel it up to see how it looks. This is a funny little simple. I know people have been asking about city scenes. That was kind of fun, right? You can do another one. Same thing, tape it down. You can do a Parisian scene. So you can do a New York City and a Parisian scene. So again, get this wet. Oh, I had color on it, dark color. That's just horrible. But I like to do my tutorials in real time, people, so you know the perfection is all in your head. Not every artist is perfect. No way, no how. All those YouTube videos you see out there, you think they do it on one shot. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Again, we could do the blue, but the blue purple sky. So purple. I'm going to take some of the color off. and then the pink. It's really pretty pink. Nice little ombre effect, right? Gonna take, if you want to take some of the color out, you can also use a paper towel. So you want to use some white clouds on this one, taking off some of that purple and pink. And then you can go and add the darker pink underneath those clouds. Here I'm grabbing the magenta and a little bit of that yellow again. And I'm tapping in some of that pink for clouds. Just see how I make the little lines like that. The less water too, the less it will bleed. So that bled a lot, so I'm gonna have to put less water. Pretty dark. And this one, no water was next to that one, so I can add it. Just adding in some of these clouds, similar to the first one. We're going to change the scenery though. I'm still feeling there's just too much pink in here, so I'm going to take it up with my paper towel. Just lighten it up. I want this much paler than the first one. So it's much lighter. And I'll go in and add a dark element right under here. See, I'm just tapping in the color. See, I'm just doing little side dash strokes to indicate the sky, the clouds. So I get exactly what I'm looking for. Alright, so we're going to dry this and come back. So again, that's dry. We go back in with the, like we did with the other one, the pink. I'm adding a little of the yellow, tone it down a bit. And then we can start doing like buildings. And of course, if it's in Paris, you'll see some domes and some arches. No, the color's too not wet enough. Smaller buildings. Wouldn't be like New York. And you don't have to put the gray in if you want to just keep putting in darker and darker pink. Keep it really pretty. So again, hit magenta, a little bit of yellow. So adding this background dome. Some buildings. In the foreground. These are pretty bright. And we'll let that dry and we'll come back. Okay, so that's dry. We can go and add the gray tone. If you want to put some pink to that. So we're going to add some other going to keep it a little bit lighter than that. So I'm going to remove some of that paint color. I didn't want it that dark. I want this one paler. So I'm going to get this pretty wet, loose. And I'll dab it on my paper towel before I put it on the paper. And I'll go back in here. I'll put another little dome building here. Small building here. I wanted it like a paler gray. Connecting. Then you can add some little details. They wouldn't be like flat buildings like New York. Remember, this is just like an interpretation. This is not exact. And then if you want to put in like a little bit darker, you can put in the Eiffel Tower. Now I'm just doing it by memory, but which is kind of nuts. I have no reference I'm looking at. But I think I pretty much know what it looks like because I got engaged on it. Yep, so I did. It has this arch. Yep. Back in, I'm thinking, oh my god, if I can remember if it's 93 or 94. I think it was 93. I got married in 95. So yes, here's a little silhouette of the Eiffel Tower. It has these crisscrossy, you know, you don't have to get so technical. Like I said, it's interpretation. And you can get the pink. It's kind of bleeding over here, but that's okay. You want it kind of soft. And you can go back in here and add some darker windows. More details. So it's kind of like a silhouette, but it has little details. See, I'm adding darker details, unlike the first one. More building details. And there you go on that one, if you want to get even darker still. The Tour Eiffel. If you wanted to put the Arc de Triomphe or some other. This one, see, this one kind of blended a little too much. So I'm going to just take that up. And then I can go back in and add the details. So that one's a little paler. And there you go. Let's lift this one up. Mini cities. New York and Paris. What do you think, guys? And that's our mini Monday Madness. A little simple, fun, cute. City silhouettes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. I have exclusive videos over there, exclusive downloads. They're weekly videos, and I put in ad-free tutorials from YouTube over there, especially on Mini Mondays because people love that. And PDF download sketches, as well as once a month, if you're on the Super Patreon, you get a free download of my painting for personal use. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by. Take care. Also, before I forget again, Check out my other channel, Amazing Art. You can see it right on my About page, or in this description box. I have a fun little, those are more demos, acrylic painting tutorial over there. So thanks guys, take care, and I'll speak to you soon.